All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about something that's running in the background of our digital lives all the time. This is the silent architecture of systematic deception.
You know, deception isn't some obvious monster hiding in the dark anymore. Not at all. It's that helpful little suggestion, that ad that seems to know exactly what you were just thinking about. It's that super smooth interface that just works. This is the digital fog we're all walking through every day, where the line between what's real information and what's deliberate influence has gotten so blurry you can barely see it.
And we've all had that feeling, right? You're scrolling through your feed and it feels like it's reading your mind. Or you get a recommendation for a product and it's so perfect, it almost feels like magic. But here's the thing, that's not an accident. That's the system working exactly the way it was designed to.
So let's pull back the curtain a little bit. We need to go from just having that feeling to understanding the actual mechanism behind it. Because this isn't just random noise. It's a carefully built, completely invisible infrastructure designed for one thing: influence.
So, what do we even mean by systematic deception? This is so crucial. We are not talking about a single, isolated lie. We're not talking about one fake article or a simple trick. We are talking about the entire environment you're in. It's the constant, subtle, low-key shaping of what you see, what you feel, and ultimately what you come to believe inside these digital spaces.
Yeah, this kind of deception, it isn't loud, it's not in your face, it's more like the hum of a refrigerator in the background. It's ambient, it's always on. It whispers ideas to you, it doesn't shout commands. It shapes your reality just by repeating the same message over and over until it just starts to feel like a fact. And maybe the most powerful part? It almost always relies on the near truth. Stories that are just plausible enough, just close enough to reality, but they're really hard to dismiss.
Okay, so if the system itself is the environment, then what are the buildings made of? Well, they're made of false narratives. These are the actual blueprints for engineering what people believe, and they're built on a really deep, really sophisticated understanding of our own psychology. And these narratives work so well because they pull on three very specific psychological levers inside all of us. First up, urgency. They create this feeling of a crisis or this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It makes you feel like you have to act right now, and that shortcuts the logical part of your brain. Second is certainty. They give you these simple black and white answers and really reinforce that us versus them feeling. That makes you feel safe inside your group and just crushes any natural skepticism you might have. And third, simplicity. They offer these neat, easy explanations for really messy, complex problems, and man, our brains just love that.
And this really gets to the heart of it, the difference in the ultimate goal. Look, on one side, you've got genuine insight. It's messy. It embraces nuance. It takes real mental effort to get there, and it often challenges what you thought you knew. Its goal is to inform. But engineered belief, it does the exact opposite. It gives you this feeling of certainty. It feels completely effortless, and it's designed to align perfectly with your existing biases. See, its goal isn't to inform you. It's to retain you, to keep you engaged, keep you scrolling, to keep your attention locked right where it is. And this is where it gets serious, because here's the long-term effect. Once one of these engineered narratives gets installed in your head, it's not just another piece of information, it becomes the mental infrastructure. It becomes the filter through which you see everything else. New information, new evidence, it's not even judged on its own merit anymore. If it doesn't fit the structure that's already been built in your mind, it's just rejected instantly.
Which brings us to a really critical question. We've looked at this external architecture, right? But why does it work so well on us? It's time to turn the lens around and look at our own cognitive blind spots.
I mean, seriously, if this is happening constantly all around us, why isn't it painfully obvious? Why don't we see the walls of the maze that we're walking through?
Well, the answer is basically in our own internal programming. At our core, as human beings, we're wired to trust. We have to be, just to function in the world. We also have this funny quirk where we mistake things that are familiar for things that are legitimate. If we see a message enough times in a place we visit every day, our brain just starts to tag it as true. And critically, when we're totally overwhelmed with information, which is like all the time now, our default setting is to outsource critical thinking. We let the algorithm or the headline or our group do the hard work for us. We just sort of assume deep down that we're not being manipulated.
And that all leads to the main takeaway here, the core idea of this whole thing. The most effective deception in the world today doesn't have to hide in the shadows. It becomes invisible for a much simpler reason, because we, feeling overwhelmed and naturally trusting, just stop looking for it. It's hiding in plain sight.
So,
I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. As you go about the rest of your day, as you scroll through your feeds and click on your news, when was the last time you consciously, deliberately, just stopped and truly looked at the architecture all around you?